Hello again. Today we are checking out the r/askreddit question. What is extremely rare but people think is common? Any links in the video will be listed in the description below. Let's dig into the misconceptions and learn something new together. Tourette's with coprolalia, involuntary swearing. Only about 10% of Tourette's patients have this symptom. Because of this misconception, I would also say that having Tourette's is more common than you would think. 1 in every 160 children between 5 and 17, or 1 in 100 children if including all tic disorders, according to Tourette Association of America. Successfully saving someone trapped by a fire, via entering a burning building. The mortality rate for this is really high, and fire departments have petitioned to stop showing this in movies because it usually results in another life being lost. Burglary in the middle of the night. Burglary happens most often during the day, when nobody is home. No burglar wants to break in and try to sneak around your place while you're sleeping. His biggest concern is to evade detection. It makes more sense to work in the daytime. In all likelihood, that noise you heard outside was a car or a raccoon or your imagination. Go to sleep. People giving away drugs to kids at Halloween. Why would they give away product they could sell? You almost never see two guys walking across the street carrying a big pane of glass. I was on a college visit once and I saw two guys walking holding a big pane of glass. I took a good look because I know it will never happen again. Dropping out of college and becoming a millionaire/billionaire. Red hair. It only occurs in about 2% of the population. Dissociative identity disorder. Multiple personalities. What is common, on the other hand, is the mistaken belief that this is synonymous with schizophrenia. A potential mate who is successful, smart, funny, attractive, mentally stable, ready for commitment and single. Becoming a successful YouTuber. Rent-controlled apartments in NYC. If TV is accurate, they're all occupied by part-time coffee shop employees who work approximately 10 minutes a day. Writing code that executes on first compile. Being able to make it as a musician or actor or many other creative jobs. And by making it I mean being able to earn some serious money or even just to make a living by just performing and not doing anything else. Most of the time, you will have to have multiple side projects that only roughly are related to actually performing. Or so I've heard. If there are people with personal experience in these fields, I'd love to read your comments. There are only 13 advertising blimps in use around the world, yet it's so common to see them when there's a football game. Successfully resuscitating someone who has drowned. Edit for clarification, drowned is the key word. I mean died from submersion in water. User Defog has opened a great discussion with me on this, and this chart is very telling on the different success rates based on drowned versus drowning. If your heart stops, there is a 1 in 20 chance you will survive with CPR. And doubles your chances. But that's only to 1 in 10. 90 to 95% of hearts that stop do not restart. The movies tell me all I have to do is scream at them to wake up, and it works. If the BBC has taught me anything, it would be murders in small British villages. Epilepsy being fall to the floor, spaz uncontrollably, froth and all that due to flashing lights. Epilepsy is recurring seizures, and there are lots and lots of seizure types. Often they aren't noticeable, even immediately so for the sufferer. Triggers for these seizures are more likely to be hyperventilation, stress, alcohol or sleep deprivation, or stuff like that, than strobe lights. Epilepsy is also pretty common, and it's likely you go to school or work with someone who has it, in a reverse of the title. Ironically for this post though, the kind of epilepsy I have does have the stereotype. Go figure. Pleading insanity to escape punishment for a crime. There was even a pretty so-so movie about it a while ago. In reality, it is very rare that insanity is used as a criminal defense strategy. Fewer than 1% of criminal cases in the US involve the insanity defense. Here's a PDF source for your perusal if you're not the type to trust some guy on the internet. Even then, it is only successful in 1 out of 4 attempts, and that involves convincing a psychiatrist that you're insane, so don't hang your hat on it if you're thinking about killing someone. having green eyes. Only 1–2% of humans on Earth have green eyes. A woman's water breaking during pregnancy. It only happens outside of the hospital like 15% of the time, but in the movies it's always the dramatic telling of when a baby is coming. Big wangs. At work right now, so I'm not googling the stats, but if you've ever had the pleasure of perusing through the Craigslist personals, you should. It's gold. There are a ton of women wanting a guy with at least a 9 inches long. 9 inches must be larger than 90% of porn stars. That's your bottom limit. You have no idea how rare a pecker over 9 inches long is. Hitting a jackpot. That's why casinos exist and are hugely profitable. Hell, late last year in my city a woman won $1.2 million just on AVLT at a local bar. Great for her, but you know it lead to an increase in people burning through their paychecks on those machines. Cow tipping. Everyone knows some kid who claims to have gone out into the countryside and pushed a cow over for a laugh. Know how many people have actually tipped a cow? None. It's a bloody great big beast and it isn't going to let you shunt it. With the amount of cow tipping stories that exist, you would think there would be more video evidence of it occurring, but it's just a lie city kids tell their mates. Quicksand. Using stop, drop and roll. Shark attacks. I live in Perth, supposedly one of the shark attack capitals of the world. Sure, we see them occasionally. But actual attacks are very rare. Being in an airplane crash, it's 1 in a million, but a lot of people I know are still more scared to travel on a plane than in a car. ROSC, return of spontaneous circulation after CPR. I believe the actual success rate is 3%, and those people are very likely to have brain damage. Media would have you thinking it's a great catch-all for any unconscious person. I'm gonna go with T-Rex fossils. I at least thought they were rather common since my local museum had like 3. There are something like only 4 dozen ever found in the world, and only about 12 skulls. Edit, guess it is about 50, was going on memory. Still a bit low if you ask me considering how much we talk about dinos. Vanilla. Real or vanilla? There was a ton of vanilla available a couple of years back, which in turn drove the prices way down. So the vanilla farmers of Madagascar and Indonesia, who are pretty much the only ones farming vanilla orchids, said screw orchids, I'm burning the trees they grow on and planting something else. Farming orchids is a real, labor-intensive chore and they are picky plants, that needs hand pollination. That is transferring pollen by hand from one vine to another, which takes forever to do. Now, they are vines too, which means once you cut down trees they grow on. You can't just go oops, prices are up again, better grow orchids again. No, you have to wait until the trees they wind up into are grown. So vanilla is now scarce and expensive as hell, and it will take some years before that changes. Meanwhile, we're all paying around $30 for 3 ounces of vanilla. Everything with vanilla taste is with added vanillin, which is the chemical vanilla tastes like. But it's nowhere near the same taste as real vanilla, which is delicious and delicate and awesome. The fit guy laughing at the fat newbie at the gym. When I was fat getting into shape, I got nothing but positive reinforcement from these guys to never give up and keep going. My fat friends were paranoid people and assumed people were laughing at them. In reality, gym goers were just being social and laughing about their conversations. Astronomer here. Total solar eclipses. Hear me out. Obviously, we know that they're not common at any given point on Earth, but you will have about one a year somewhere on the planet, so it's not unreasonable to see one if you plan a little. But with that context, it turns out our moon is the only moon we know of that is the exact same size of the sun in our sky. Mars's moons, for example, are captured asteroids too puny to cover the sun's disk. The further out you go, the planet's moons are so big it more than covers the tiny size of the disk. So, with that, 100% of total solar eclipse is where you actually get the sun obscured and see the corona and all that jazz happens on Earth. And this effect won't happen forever either, because the moon is moving away from us a few inches a year. In a few 100 million years no one will see total solar eclipses anymore. I was fortunate enough to view the Great American 2017 solar eclipse, and it was quite an amazing experience. Do you know any tidbits of information or occurrences that are rarer than we think? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for a new video every day. Cheerio.